This next contestant is Bruce's biggest rival,
Oh no.
and she has one of the more fascinating childhood stories that we've seen in a long time on Survivor. Joining me now is fourth place finalist Katurah. Katurah, so excited to speak with you. How are things?
Oh, I'm so good. It's so good to speak with you, Blake. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's start lighthearted. I joke about Bruce, but the editing really pitted you all as rivals throughout the season. Were you really as big of a rival to Bruce as it was portrayed?
This is you starting lighthearted. Got it. I'm like, okay, Blake, sure. I honestly don't think we were rivals. I think it looks maybe like a rivalry. In reality, I think it was just um we're just different people and we've moved through
Sure.
the world differently, and I think Bruce's communication style and energy towards me specifically just felt very harsh and aggressive and abrasive at
Mm,
times. Um and the way the tribe dynamics were, there was no space for me to like express that or tell anybody that or vent to anybody about that. And
mm.
so I think that's why we end up having me being like, I need some outlet. And then I go to my confessionals and I'm like, oh, let me tell you what I've been dealing with today, kind of thing like that. So I don't think it was a rivalry. I don't think it was like, I hate Bruce, Bruce hates me. But I do think that I probably raised some things in him that he didn't realize. And then he raised some things in me that I didn't see coming.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Well, from the viewer perspective, it was a fun storyline, I should say. So, uh, now, Katurah, you have such an interesting childhood that you chose to share on the show. I think it was impactful and truly took the audience's breath away. Why did you choose to share your story on the show?
Yeah, I actually only shared a really small part of my story on the show. And I look back in hindsight, I was thinking going into the game, I was laser focused, and very lawyer, first child, oldest child, type A Virgo form. I was like, we gonna do this, then this, then this. Like I had a game plan for every stage. And my thought process was, you're only winning a million. There's no other way around it. You're winning the game. But, on the off chance that you don't, I want to make sure I take something from Survivor. It's
Mm,
it's my fantasy game. Like I love this game. I'm obsessed with this show. And I recognize how lucky I am to be on it. And I didn't want to go through all of that and come out just being the exact same person, living the exact same life, where in reality I carry a facade. Like I'm
mm,
walking into meetings in courtrooms and courthouses and lawmaking spaces, and no one knows that I'm carrying this deep
mm.
pain with me. And I just felt if I can take a little weight off my heart by just sharing what I thought was like the smallest, most digestible piece of my childhood. It
Sure.
turned out it's shocking to people. But I was like, if I can just release a little bit of that, I almost get to stand up for little Katurah. Like I almost get to say, like, you don't have to like walk around with other people's secrets. And honestly, I really believe in the power of sharing stories. Like
Mm.
I do think there's something powerful about, looking at you and be like, I see Blake, but like I don't really know Blake, and if you start telling me some intimate things, then
Sure.
there's gonna be something I'm like, oh, I human on that level as well. Like I also can connect to this. And it was beyond what I ever thought. Like people have been so amazing. I've connected with so many people and it's resonated with so much more than I ever
Mhm.
imagined.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I can just tell for what it's worth, like you feel lighter. Like I have chills just hearing you speak about all this. So thank you
Oh,
for sharing
thank
that and being
you.
so
Yeah.
vulnerable. Yeah. Now, something else that was super interesting to me was spotlighting the letter you received from your estranged mother, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Walk me through the emotions of having to read that letter out there
Uh,
in the, kind of the middle
I
of your
guess
journey on the show.
I guess you were right. Bruce was the lighthearted.
I
Okay,
told you,
you're
I
coming
warned
in with
you.
fire. I am like, hit after hit. um, I was an emotional wreck. There is no way to put that differently. I knew watching that episode was gonna be hard. I knew even talking about it now, like I was a wreck. And I told you I planned everything out of the game. So before the game, when I'm making my list of people I want letters for, I explicitly didn't include my mom because
Mm,
I know Survivor. If you're getting a letter, that means you're deep in the game, right? You're not
Yeah,
getting that on day 5, right? That means you're in it, in it, in it. And you probably, no matter what the dynamics are struggling. Like there's some stress. And I just didn't want it to throw off my emotional equilibrium. Like I was like, I don't know. Like this might make me feel good. It might make me feel terrible. This isn't the time to test it out. Like in
sure.
Survivor is not the time. But what I didn't know is that um, the letters that you receive can only be from family members. And that's
Mm,
something I didn't know before I made my list and designated my people to handle the letters. So a lot of the people, like you can tell a little bit from my background in childhood, um, my closest connections often aren't family. Like
mhm,
it's my chosen family. It's people around me who don't share my blood, but like are my people. Um, and I love them. And I was like, yo, I need the letters from. And then they weren't able to give letters. So on
mm.
that trip, not only I'm looking for those letters. Like I explicitly was like, where are the letters from them? They weren't there. So I'm feeling a hit already, and then the letter that I specifically did not want is there. And I'm like double hit. And on top of that, I'm looking at Dee, Julie, and Emily, and there are tons of letters from family and they're reading parent letters. And I'm just like, I'm an emotional wreck. Like I tried to
Yeah,
fit in. I wasn't even gonna tell the girls on the reward what was going on. But I was so like
overcome with
it's
emotion.
spilling over,
Yeah.
yeah, that it came out.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so heavy. But again, I appreciate you sharing that
Sorry.
because no, 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 no. I appreciate you sharing it because there are so many viewers that have, I'm sure, similar experiences to you, and that might be therapeutic for them seeing you
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
overcome that. Okay, my next question doesn't get lighter, just so you know.
Oh,
Um,
damn. Blake, what are you doing
okay,
to me?
you have an interesting story. Okay, so if I have this correct, and correct me if I'm misspeaking here, but you were the juror that asked about a fear that the players face head on, correct? Okay,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
want to pin that question on you. What was a fear that you feel like you faced head on while on the island?
Ooh, God. Honestly, I feel like I faced so many. Like it felt like I'm so the way I've navigated the world, especially like not to get dark, but like I've seen some horrific stuff. Like I've been
Yeah.
in some terrible situations. And the way I've navigated was I'm always in control of me. I've learned that only me in control of me is the safest way for me to exist. And I think about who I'm around. I think about who I let in my space. I think about who's going to be harmful to me. And so, honestly, Survivor was a huge lesson in just being like, you're going to let all control go and
Mm,
just see what happens. And I navigate the world as a Black woman. And a lot of time I'm insulated because I say, well, I'm in these elevated spaces because I'm a lawyer, because I'm at top
mm-hmm,
law firms, because I've done top law school. Like, what if you take all that away? Now I'm
mm.
really just plain middle Midwest Black poor girl with
Katurah.
no control over anything
Yep.
that's happening. And let's just see. That was like, oh, I mean, that alone, I was like, are we sure we're doing this? We're doing okay. We're doing it. We're doing, so that was it. And then it was just like hit after hit after hit, like being excluded from my tribe, being the only one, being a social outcast and not knowing why. And like
Mm,
seeing the tribe dynamics where Bruce really was, I viewed Bruce as the leader of my tribe and really in this like leadership role where people might not have agreed with him on all levels, but they weren't going to vote him out. It didn't feel like it
mm,
felt like they were still sticking with them. And like navigating that feeling of like, okay, this person maybe wants blind obedience from me, but that's triggering me right back to a place where you must have blind obedience, or like shit, real stuff could happen, right?
yeah.
So it was just like knock and
Yeah.
I don't know how. I'm shocked too. Look, you done brought me back to a place of chaos, Blake.
Listen, I didn't mean to. I just have a lot of good questions for you. Now, okay, let's get into gameplay a little bit and answer these kind of briefly. So, first one, how would you say or how would you describe your game change from maybe pre-merge to merge?
Yeah, a great question. I would say pre-merge, I was trying to just say, let me stick with my people who I already have been with from day one, and let me just keep trying to find ways to connect with them. That was really my
Mm,
focus pre-merge. How do I connect with Kelly? How do I make her put me more of a priority than like, the invisible, like disposable person. How do I connect with Bruce? How do I make him not be bothered by me or mad at me? I like kept trying. And
Yeah.
then I felt like by the time we hit the merge and I had tried to do Belo strong again, and Bruce said, let's get rid of Caleb, who was working with us, and everybody agreed. And I was like, I can't. I feel like there was a part of Survivor, me, like Survivor Couture outside of the game that
Mm.
activated. And it was like, you got to get up. You can't keep crying and laying on the ground and being like, please, can you guys like me? Please, can you take me in? Please. I'm like, I'm trying to be so sweet and be sucking up. It was like,
Yeah.
I tried. Let's get him out. Hey,
Yeah.
Reba, what's up? Listen, I'll vote with Belo. They won't know it, but let me be your insider. Let's get all these
Absolutely.
people out together. And that felt for me like I was taking action. Like I stood up and I was defending myself. And I watched every single one of them go home and I helped plan all of their blind sides. And it felt really powerful. It felt like I was for the first time having agency and power in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Katurah, being a pick me girl does not get you far in Survivor.
I mean,
Okay, next question. She obviously goes on to win, but do you regret switching your vote from D to Julie at Final Five?
what do you mean? Do I regret it? It's my biggest regret, obviously. Like I called it, I saw it, I mapped it out. I mean, I knew. So yeah, I mean, it's a huge regret. I've had some time to sit with it, right? Like, I think on one hand, I was just kicking myself for a long time. Like you saw it, you had the chance to change this. You worked for hours trying to convince Jake to write down D's name. It
Hmm.
finally worked. He was on board. Like I want to kick myself. And then on the other hand, I'm thinking, honestly, it's a testament to Dee's gameplay too, though.
Yeah.
Like she's a phenomenal player. I literally went to Austin and I was like, Austin, you gotta write Dee's name down. You don't win beside D. And he was like, I know, but I gotta write her name down. I was like,
Hmm.
Julie, or he was like, I won't write her name down. I was like, Julie, like I said directly to Julie, like, if you don't write Dee's name down, we all lose. Like you lose the game. Like I said it as direct as I could. And she said, I know. And I still can't write her name down. And
Yeah.
if you're in the final five and two people refuse to write your name down, even though they know you're going to win, that's her gameplay. I got to
Yeah.
give her credit for that. And so, like, the blow isn't as hard because I love our winner.
Yeah.
I feel good about my season's winner. I'm like, yeah, like
Yeah.
we got somebody who was able to do what I couldn't do. I spent all this time trying to make these people like connect with me, and she did it, flawlessly.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. My final question for you. Okay. It's funny because you joke about how much you hate it in the beginning of the season. How hard is it losing fire making?
Oh, I mean, honestly, it, it's terrible. It's all terrible. But when Julie's torch got snuffed at 5, I felt I lost the game right there.
Mm,
I was like having D beyond 5, it's a lose lose for me either way. So
mm,
even if D had put Austin in fire making or Jake or like whatever the combination was to be, I felt that I'd already lost. So that takes a little bit of the sting away from it. Because my goal was to never make fire. I mean, I know how to make fire, and I can't wait to release my videos of me making all these awesome fires before going into the game. I was prepared. I was like, if
yeah,
I have to make fire, I'll do it. But I knew fire is a flaky, it's not a guaranteed thing. And my
sure.
map to the end was get taken. I don't
Yeah,
have any issues with pride. Yep, take me. Yep, I'm sure. I'm running on the
absolutely.
Marianne train. I'm running on the Erica train. Yes, take me.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Katurah, this has been an absolute pleasure to get to speak with you. You are so much fun. Congrats on making it to Final Four, and we hope to see you again on Survivor someday soon.
Thank you so much. It was great speaking with you,
Yes.
Blake.